All right, so you're getting ready for a child care worker interview. That's awesome. We're diving into RoleCatcher's guides today to help you absolutely crush it.
We're going to help you get ready for some of those tricky questions you might get
Hmm.
and really help you stand out from the other candidates.
I love it. Okay, so before we jump into practicing answers, let's make sure we're all on the same page about what a child care worker actually does day to day.
Yeah, it's so much more than babysitting. You're really helping shape young minds and create a safe and stimulating environment and working closely with parents.
It sounds like a huge responsibility.
Right.
I saw in the RoleCatcher guides that this kind of work can be both physically and emotionally demanding, but also incredibly rewarding.
Right. That's definitely something we'll touch on a little bit later, but let's focus on getting you ready and confident for that interview.
Okay, so let's say you're sitting across from the interviewer,
Mm-hmm.
and they ask, tell us about your previous experience working with children. What's the best way to approach that question?
It's your time to shine. Instead of just listing places you've worked or volunteered, use specific examples to bring your skills to life. Like, let's say you're amazing at calming a child down. Don't just say, I'm patient. Tell a story.
Ooh, I like that. Paint a picture.
Right. So describe the situation, how you responded, and what the positive outcome was. Were you able to figure out what was upsetting the child? Did you use a particular technique to help them feel safe and secure?
That makes so much sense. So even if someone doesn't have a ton of formal work experience, they can still give a really strong answer.
Absolutely. Volunteering, babysitting for family or friends, it all counts. Anytime you've interacted with children,
Absolutely.
especially in challenging situations, it's valuable experience. So think about how you've used skills like communication, problem solving, and adaptability.
That's great to hear. And, I think RoleCatcher's AI can actually help people tailor their answers for different job roles.
That's right. It can analyze specific job descriptions and provide feedback on your practice answers to make sure they hit all the right notes.
Wow, that sounds super helpful. Okay, so we've talked about experience. Now let's get into those behavioral questions that the RoleCatcher guides mention. What are those all about?
Yeah, behavioral questions are designed to see how you'd handle real-life scenarios on the job. So they're all about understanding how you think and how you react under pressure. So for example, the interviewer might ask, how would you handle a child acting out in a group setting?
Oof, that's a tough one. I remember being a kid and meltdowns happen.
They do, and the interviewer isn't looking for a punishment-heavy approach. They want to see if you can identify the root of the behavior, redirect the child positively, and communicate effectively with everyone involved.
So it's about being a detective. In a way, you're figuring out what's really going on.
Exactly. And speaking of detective work, another common question is how do you ensure the safety of the children in your care?
Okay, that one seems pretty straightforward. Follow the rules, right?
Of course. But again, specifics are key. So don't just say, I follow safety procedures. Paint a picture for the interviewer. Describe what those procedures look like. Head counts, buddy systems, checking for hazards, knowing the emergency plan inside and out.
Now that you mention it, I remember reading in RoleCatcher's Career Overview that child care workers have one of the highest rates of on-the-job injuries.
Yeah, it's true, unfortunately. That's why it's so important to show the interviewer that you're proactive and knowledgeable about safety. So think about it this way. What stands out to you as the biggest safety concern in a childcare setting? And how would you prevent accidents?
That's a great way to think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, we've talked about experience. We've talked about safety. What about a child's emotional well-being? I mean, there's got to be questions about that.
You bet. A common one is how do you handle a child who's upset or crying? What's your gut instinct in that kind of situation?
I'd probably offer comfort and try to figure out what's wrong. But I'm guessing there's a little more to it than that.
Empathy is a great starting point, absolutely. But you also want to demonstrate your problem-solving skills. Can you identify the cause of the child's distress? Can you offer comfort and support in an age-appropriate way? And when would you know to loop in the parents?
So it's about finding that balance between emotional support
Yeah,
and taking practical steps to solve the problem.
exactly. And speaking of problem-solving, how about those inevitable conflicts between kids? It's bound to come up in the interview.
Oh, I can only imagine. He took my toy. She pushed me. Classic playground drama. What kind of question should people be prepared for?
Something along the lines of, how do you handle conflicts between children? The key here is to show the interviewer that you can be a mediator, not a judge. So you want to listen to each child's perspective, Help them find a solution together, and ideally use it as a chance to teach them valuable conflict resolution skills.
So you're not just breaking up fights, you're helping them learn how to navigate disagreements in a healthy care.
Exactly. And those are skills that will benefit them long after they've left your care.
This is all so helpful. It's really hitting home how much thought and preparation goes into being a childcare worker. You're not just playing games all day. You're constantly assessing risks, supporting emotional well-being, and guiding social interactions.
You're absolutely right. And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can be a huge help in practicing your answers to these kinds of questions. It can analyze your responses and provide feedback tailored to the specific job you're applying for.
It's like having a personal interview coach in your pocket. Okay, before we move on, I do want to touch on something we see come up a lot in the RoleCatcher career guides. Handling bullying. What kind of questions might pop up around that topic?
Yeah, a common one is, how do you handle a child who is being bullied? This is a really sensitive subject, and interviewers want to see that you understand the complexity.
It's definitely not as simple as just telling the bully to stop.
Right. It's about recognizing the different roles involved, intervening appropriately, providing support to both the victim and the bully, and knowing when to involve parents or guardians.
It sounds like there's so many layers to navigate in that situation.
There are, and that's why it's so important for childcare centers to have clear policies and procedures in place. Speaking of policies, another common question is, how do you handle a child who is refusing to participate in an activity?
Oh, yeah. Every parent and caregiver has dealt with that at some point. What's the best way to approach this kind of question in an interview setting?
Again, it starts with empathy and assessment. Why is the child refusing? Are they tired, overwhelmed, or just not interested? Once you understand what's going on, you can offer alternatives, adjust your approach, and communicate clearly with the child and their parents.
It's about being flexible and finding a solution that works for everyone.
Exactly, and that requires a balance of firmness, understanding, and a good dose of creativity sometimes. You got to keep things interesting.
I'm hearing that a lot. It's all about balance in this role.
It really is. Balancing safety with fun, structure with flexibility, and knowing when to step in and when to step back.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground on those behavioral questions. I'm already feeling much more prepared for that interview. But before we wrap up this section, I'm curious about something else I saw mentioned in the RoleCatcher guides: career paths. It sounds like there are different directions you can go as a child care worker.
There are, and that's something interviewers might ask about, to gauge your long-term goals and how you see yourself growing in this field. Welcome back. I hope you're feeling more confident now about tackling those tough interview questions.
Totally. And you know what else I think can boost that confidence? RoleCatcher's AI tools. I think those can seriously up your interview game.
It's like having a personal coach in your pocket, guiding you every step of the way.
I'm excited to dig into that, especially after seeing how RoleCatcher breaks down those different career paths for childcare workers. It got me thinking about specialization and, where I want to focus my energy.
Right. It's fantastic that you're thinking long-term like that. And you're right, RoleCatcher's career guides go beyond just interview prep. They actually dive into those different career paths and specializations, and they even highlight potential certifications that you could pursue.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, hey, we're not just going to help you land a job, we're going to help you build like a fulfilling career.
That's the beauty of it. And it goes hand in hand with those AI tools we were talking about. So let's imagine you're looking at a job description and it's packed with all these requirements and skills. It can be really overwhelming.
Oh, I've been there, feeling like I need a PhD just to apply.
Right. Well, that's where RoleCatcher's AI steps in. It actually analyzes the job description and highlights the most important skills for that specific role. So it's like having a spotlight shining on exactly what the employer is looking for.
That's amazing. So instead of sending out a generic resume, I can use RoleCatcher's AI to create a tailored version that really makes me stand out.
You got it. You can really emphasize the experiences and skills that are most relevant to that particular employer, and that increases your chances of getting noticed.
It's all about showing them that you're the perfect fit. It doesn't stop there, though, right? RoleCatcher's AI can also help with practicing interview answers.
Absolutely. Remember all those tricky behavioral questions that we discussed earlier? Well, you can practice your answers, and RoleCatcher's AI will actually provide feedback. It's like having an expert listening in and giving you pointers on how to make your answers even stronger.
Wow, I'm really impressed by this technology. Is it giving generic advice? Or is it actually looking at my specific answers and giving me personalized feedback?
It's personalized. It can tell you if you're using the right keywords, if you're providing enough detail, and even assess if you're coming across as confident and prepared.
Wait, it can sense confidence through my words. That's wild.
It analyzes the language that you use and looks for those subtle cues that convey confidence and clarity. So it's all about helping you present yourself in the best light possible.
This is such a game changer. It's like having a secret weapon in my job search arsenal.
Exactly. And the more you practice with it, the more refined your answers will become. You'll start to notice patterns in the types of questions that come up and the skills that employers value most.
So it's not just about prepping for one specific interview. It's about developing a deeper understanding of the field and building those communication skills. That'll serve me throughout my career.
You hit the nail on the head. And speaking of the field, let's loop back to those career insights we were discussing. We know the demand for childcare workers is on the rise, but competition can be fierce. So what can people do to make sure their application rises to the top?
Besides using RoleCatcher's awesome AI features, of course.
Of course. Well, one way to stand out is to specialize. So think about what truly excites you about working with children. Is there a specific age group that you're drawn to? Are you passionate about working with children who have special needs?
Oh, I'm already starting to brainstorm. So by focusing on a specific niche, I can showcase my expertise and passion to potential employers.
You got it. And you can take it a step further by pursuing additional certifications. So things like CPR first aid, child development. There are tons of options out there.
Those certifications are like gold stars on a resume. They show employers you're committed to professional development and staying up to date with the latest best practices.
Exactly. Employers love to see candidates who are proactive and invested in their own growth. It shows initiative and a genuine passion for the field.
Okay, so we talked about specializing, getting certified. What about those leadership roles mentioned in the RoleCatcher career guides? I'm curious about how to set myself up for that kind of advancement down the line.
That's a great question, and it brings us back to those behavioral interview questions. When interviewers ask about handling conflicts, ensuring safety, supporting emotional well-being, they're also looking for leadership qualities.
Ah, I see what you mean. So by demonstrating my problem-solving skills, my ability to stay calm under pressure, and my commitment to creating a positive learning environment, I'm indirectly showcasing my potential for leadership.
You're exactly right. They're looking for those seeds of leadership potential, even in entry-level candidates. And remember, those skills are transferable.
What do you mean by transferable skills?
Even if you haven't held a formal leadership position, think about any experiences where you've taken initiative, mentored others, or helped resolve conflicts. Those skills are valuable in any field, including childcare.
So whether it's captaining a sports team, leading a group project, or even organizing a family event, those experiences can demonstrate my leadership potential.
Absolutely. It's all about connecting the dots.
Sure.
And showcasing those transferable skills in a way that resonates with the specific job you're applying for.
Okay, I'm loving all this advice. I'm feeling more prepared for the interview and even more excited about the possibilities within this career path.
That's fantastic to hear. And remember, RoleCatcher's AI and career resources are there to support you every step of the way.
Now that you mention it, there's one feature we haven't explored yet that's mentioned in RoleCatcher's networking guide. It's called Get Discovered. What is that all about?
That's a really cool feature. It kind of flips the traditional job search model on its head. Instead of you chasing after jobs, the jobs come to you.
Wait, hold on. Employers are actually searching for candidates based on their skills and experience?
They are. It's like a matchmaking service for jobs.
Okay. I'm intrigued. How does it work? So we left off talking about RoleCatcher's Get Discovered feature. It sounds like it could be a real game changer for job seekers.
Yeah, it really can be. It takes a lot of the stress and the guesswork out of the job search. Basically, if you opt in, registered employers on the platform can actually find you based on your skills and experience.
That's amazing. So instead of spending hours scouring job boards and sending out countless applications, I can just let the opportunities come to me.
Exactly. Remember how we talked about RoleCatcher's AI analyzing job descriptions? To pinpoint those key skills, well, employers can use that same AI to search for candidates whose profiles match their open positions.
So it's like the AI is working for me behind the scenes, connecting me with employers who are looking for someone with my exact skill set.
That's a great way to put it. It's all about making those valuable connections and putting yourself out there.
I love that. It feels so much more proactive and empowering than the traditional job search process.
It is. And think about the possibilities. You could be contacted by an amazing childcare center that you didn't even know was hiring. It opens up doors that you might never have found otherwise.
Wow. I'm definitely going to be checking out that feature. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We talked about understanding the role of a childcare worker, how to nail those interview questions, leveraging the power of AI, and even exploring different career paths. It's been a whirlwind of information.
It has, but hopefully it's been helpful and empowering.
It definitely has. So for anyone out there who's feeling nervous or intimidated by that job search process, what's the one piece of advice you'd leave them with?
Just be confident in what you bring to the table. You have unique skills and experiences and a passion for working with children. Let that shine through in your applications, your interview answers, and every interaction you have with potential employers.
I love that. And remember, with a little preparation and the right tools, you can absolutely crush that interview and launch a fulfilling career as a childcare worker.
It's a career where you can make a real difference in the lives of children and contribute to shaping future generations. It's challenging, yes, but also incredibly rewarding.
And with resources like RoleCatcher, you don't have to navigate the journey alone.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.
We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration.